What if I told you that over 1 billion people in this world are facing a life or death situation every single day? Every day, hundreds of millions of people make the decision of either dying of dehydration and lack of nutrition or drinking contaminated water. It is happening all over the world, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. It is a life or death situation because water affects everything. Let's look at a family in a water crisis today in Southeast Asia. They probably live on less than $1 a day, and when they're thirsty, there is no faucet to turn on and instantly get refreshing water. Instead, women and children, like your mothers, your siblings, your friends, walk up to 3 hours a day to the nearest body of water, exposed to contaminants and the pollution we have caused. But what choice do they have when statistics from UNICEF shows that every 21 seconds, a mother loses her child? As they spend hours collecting water, where are we? Heading out to Starbucks, receiving an education, living our lives having what over 1 billion people in this world desire for: clean water. Now you may be wondering, aren't we already helping? No, helping is not enough. We must give. We must give them an answer, a solution, a tangible method of surviving. Let's take a walk through what we've done so far. As noted by Huseman and Wood, back in 1804, a man by the name of John Gibb created a slow sand filtration system. To describe this to you, I want you to think about a tall concrete container where there are several layers of sand and gravel, similar to lasagna. Now, above the top layer of sand is where water is poured to filtrate. A bioactive layer that actively kills bacteria forms and is protected with a diffuser plate, which acts as a strainer. This allows for water to be filtered and collected through a pipe at the bottom of the concrete container for communal use. Sand filters did not help communities for very long, though. Organizations in the past would essentially throw money at struggling communities and build systems, but did not equip the communities on how to maintain these systems. If the filters are interrupted with a heavy flow of water, the bioactive layer can be damaged, reversing the intended solution. The reliability of the sand filters was put into question when a severe typhoid fever epidemic occurred in London of 1854, and when an established city was facing the effects of waterborne diseases. The World Health Organization called for scientists, engineers, and researchers to innovate a solution. In came a process in which I'm sure many of you are familiar with: chlorination. There were various forms of chlorine that were used to treat large bodies of water, and it was effective. However, chlorination within drinking water systems was again brought into question, with imposed health risks. What if the concentration of chlorine in water became toxic? What if there were any long-term health risks with chlorination? The big question was finally asked: how can contaminated water be treated without the worry of high maintenance and the use of potentially harmful chemical substances? That is when we put our trust to those in STEM fields, who gifted us with membrane filtration. Membrane filtration systems consist of layers and layers of filters that are extremely small. This brings us from 1804 to today, where we have a system known as reverse osmosis. The membrane within a reverse osmosis system is about 0.0001 micron in size. The human eye can only see up to about 40 micron in size. Thus, it is invisible to us, but it stops contaminants in its tracks. Its ability to remove dissolved and undissolved particles was its selling point. The system can remove the dissolved molecules and ions from water, such as lead, mercury, arsenic, all elements we don't necessarily want in our systems. You're probably thinking, well, why don't we just put reverse osmosis systems in all countries? Easier said than done. Reverse osmosis goes through various steps and often needs large amounts of space to treat large bodies of water. Organizations are looking for ways to lower costs and decrease the need for large physical expansions to benefit communities where these factors are a deal breaker. But we have evidence, a story, to show that reverse osmosis could be our answer. A 2005 project was done for Kashechewan, a First Nations community in Ontario. After a discovery of E. coli in their water, a plan was set out to help. A portable system of reverse osmosis was used, and the color of the water changed from translucent yellow to colorless and transparent, indicating all contaminants had been removed. This solution was more effective than UV radiation on bottles of water for 6 hours. Within minutes, residents had clean drinking water. The project was expensive, and with scientific funding decreasing every year in nations across the world, organizations are struggling to provide similar help to communities on a larger scale. The cheap method would be to go back in time, implement more sand filters, wait for the sun to do its work. But we don't go back in time for our smartphones, do we? We learn from the past and innovate. Then let us do the same for each other by starting with this basic human necessity. Historical methods of water purification have allowed us to create reverse osmosis today, but we have a deeper path to create. If we could accomplish it in a small First Nations community here in Ontario, then what's stopping us from saving time for the 1 billion people around the world? Africa alone could save 40 billion hours every year, equaling the entire annual workforce of France. Clean water equals less diseases, which is less money spent on medication and more for education. Which is why I'm telling you that $20 to any of the hundreds of organizations in the world can provide one person with access to a clean water filtration project in their community. And this will mean much more than clean water. It's a path to the new life for all humans.